Right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our second AI Talk session. We are very happy to have you today, and it's been outstanding summer with tons of the updates, a lot of new stuff coming on. We even can catch up with the things coming from the last 2 weeks. I guess it will need just a separate session, but we'll do our best.
I think we need to do a weekly AI talks to cover everything.
Even that sometimes it's harder to catch up, especially with a lot of events which we had this month, the last month, and we will have this month. So next week it will be the bigger OpenAI event. Later it would be Microsoft Ignite.
Yep.
So yeah. Quick introduction for the folks which are here for the first time. AI Talks is focused on helping people understand better the value of AI, onboard people to the AI technologies which really explode this year with GPT-4. So we're trying here to share our perspective of what's going on in this field and how this can be, most importantly, how this can be applied for organizations and enterprises. We are fortunate to have a few projects where we are working with, let's say, things like Azure OpenAI, Pure OpenAI, different models. So we'll be very happy to share our thoughts here, and hopefully you may also like to join in the conversation, share your thoughts, share your experience.
And it's just to mention, this came from our first group where we were talking specifically on cloud. We decided to spin the AI topics into its own separate group because we feel it's much broader and much more progressive than some of the cloud discussions that we have. So we're really excited. If you want to go to our YouTube channel, you can review the first recording. But going forward, I think we'll focus a lot on this group. The summer has ended, so we're back to regular scheduled programming, as they say.
So. Yep. Last month we started with the first Cloud Talk session, which is the other group that initially we started, which gets a little bit more focus on the cloud technology, security stuff. Initially, it also, as Nikki mentioned, included AI, but yeah, this is now separated. The idea is to have each month session, because as we mentioned in the beginning, it's pretty hard to catch everything in 2 hours time frame. And let's not waste more time. Just quick intro. My name is Nikolai Markov. I've been in the IT field for like 20 years. Really love new technologies, being part of multiple adoption of new technologies, digital transformation. My main focus is to help large organizations adopt the cloud and AI technologies and transform their way of doing business. I'm also, I really love what I'm doing. So let's say in short.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. I think we complement each other on many levels, but yeah, I've also focused on the cloud. And we want to now. I think when we do these intros, maybe we want to switch it up, and we can say we no longer say cloud and AI. We are going to say AI and cloud. And this is kind of our mindset going forward, that AI will be really transformative, and it's not just a buzzword. I think we can see it firsthand in the work that we do. So. Come along with on the right, as they say.
Sure. So, starting with one of the, let's say, summary news. It was State of AI for this year, which came last month. this, let's say, if we can say it, report, research, or whatever you would like.
We need to link that probably in the
yeah.
YouTube video.
Yeah, we'll put that in the chat. Actually summarize what happened this year in terms of AI, how the different what kind of different technologies burn, and etc. etc. So just real quick to share with you the main outcomes for this. Pretty obvious. GPT-4 is the master of all. Actually, it's really the best model right now, of course, which is not big surprise since it has like I don't know, maybe 10 times more parameters than any other competitors which we are aware right now. Of course, Google Gemini is coming on, but actually it's beating every other large language model on each benchmark. If you dive, I'm not sure if you had the opportunity to dive deeper. It has a lot of similarity with the human brain. If you put some effort in things like prompt engineering and understand how to really use it appropriately, you'll be extremely surprised to see how good it is to connect different words in terms of having the context. When you provide him the context, it's pretty similar to the human brain. So when you ask it questions, you can break down this question to separate words, which you can ask him to get additional information for this word. It's really, this is a much bigger and broader topic, which we'll discuss in some of our next session, but it's huge difference between GPT-4 and the other models at the moment. So also there is there's some effort grown which trying to surpass proprietary models. Right now there is I will not say war, but there's two groups of people. One are the people pretending that AI will destroy the world and create human extinction, which unfortunately it become pretty big. People are becoming afraid of jumping into this field because they don't want to be part of this. Actually, one of the co-founder of DeepMind is pretending that this is really a really big threat, and there should be a lot of limits there, some licenses, etc. However, the top guys of AI world, OpenAI world, by OpenAI I mean not OpenAI as the organization, but for example, Andrew Ng, there are some other professors from US universities. They mentioned that actually this behind the scene, this is the thing. They just trying to protect their business, and this will have huge impact in the AI development in general when putting some licenses and some regulations. And the main goal is not to prevent them from human distinction or extinction or whatever. It's just to protect their business. Of course, they agree that it's important to have regulation, just not putting this kind of not following this way. Also, there's some connections that actually when the models become more open, it's actually much easier to catch any flaws which can the large organization, let's say like OpenAI, Google, etc., can see. And of course, there were some very nice connection with Terminator movie where they mentioned, what do you think would happen if this was open source? So the majority of people said that this will not going to happen because there will be enough people to catch up what is going on. And in each movie, by the way, science fiction movie, they mentioned that actually the bad actor AI is always proprietary, which I would say it's pretty interesting thing to let's say to discuss. But yeah, definitely there will be some I don't know, not war, but discussions in that direction. Next thing is that compute is the new oil. We also what happened with NVIDIA 2 months ago when they shared their quarter report. It was clear that actually their video cards are, I think it's 80% of the market. I checked the last price of their H100 was like $34,000.
And they still cannot make enough of them too.
And they can, yeah. So definitely the other major cloud providers are trying to catch up. So there's some good development by the others, but we'll go there a bit later. Yeah, that's again the safety debate. It's becoming more and more popular, but it's really hard to understand what happened behind the scene. We are trying to catch up with the different points of view of people, and there's even some people which really don't have something specific to share, like it's not, they shared not intentionally things that are actually harming the AI world. There are some people which even in the universities which refuse to jump to this, to be part of this. So hopefully, I don't think we don't think that this is the right approach. In our point of view, the right approach should be to understand the things better and have it as much as open source as possible, in order more and more people to become familiar with the technologies and being able to find any flaws, or to develop way to find to protect us from any flaws of the models.
I think war is actually a good way to describe the situation currently, because the businesses are we are at the start of the AI adoption, right? And every company is trying to take the top spot, and by all means necessary. So they would, they will practically lie to people. They will say, they will try to push off the current competitors and say, let's put regulations so they can slow their businesses and the products that are rolling out. And this is mainly Microsoft, because
and Google,
yeah,
definitely. Actually, the Microsoft and Google's are on top of this.
Yeah, and I think it will be hard to differentiate what is the honest opinion and why are they saying certain things just for the good of humanity, or just for the good of their surviving their business and making more money. So it's I wouldn't, at this point, I wouldn't trust any of these leaders. Even, people like Sam Altman have things they cannot, since this is a pretty much a proprietary business, it's no longer open source. So they have to protect their IP, and Microsoft is betting all of their chips, as they say, on AI. We see, I mean, we're going to talk about this a bit more later, but
absolutely,
I think that the state of AI right now is, we are past this point where everybody has been wild, and now on the back end, I think we shared this on the previous meeting, that there's not a lot of discussion what companies are really doing outside of the companies that are focused on AI or startups. But the bigger companies, they are more or less quiet, but I can tell you on the back end, they're spending a ton of money just for the AI adoption. So everybody's looking into this, everybody's building products because it's such a competitive advantage to others who are not doing it. It's like you cannot afford at this point to not implement this into your products or your processes internally, whatever. So it's we're going to see how things develop in the next few years. It's really also dependent on the progress AI makes. Right now, it's the advancements in terms of the models have kind of steadily have been more steady compared to the explosion that we had in the first 6 months of the year, where we didn't anticipate that GPT-4 would actually be rolled out.
Yep. So definitely keep your critical thinking, choose wisely who advises to follow, check both sides. As I said, Andrew Ng is maybe the most popular person in AI world nowadays. And he's actually the founder of Coursera, and he's professor in Stanford University. So definitely person who can provide a good insights in the field. Okay, well, moving next. So President Biden recently, this is very fresh news from, I think it's from early this week, if I'm not mistaken, or last week, issued executive order on safe, secure, and trustworthy artificial intelligence, which in short gives US, I would say, significant advantage over the other countries, especially EU, because actually this executive order includes, like, I would not say all US agencies, but it was all major agencies. Really recommend to have a look at it, at least some summary in YouTube if you'd like. But actually it shows that the country really and the public sector really plan to adopt it as fast as possible. There's already NASA shares some update of how they are using LLMs for their work. But in this executive order, it's stated that AI should be adopted as soon as possible in the government agencies. Also, tons of new positions will be opened in terms of AI. There will be chief AI officers in some of the major agencies. So definitely, this reminds me to what happened earlier this year when Italy closed the access to GPT-4. It's definitely I would say significant advantage for United States of having this kind of plan at this stage and putting so much agencies in. So you can find NASA, Pentagon. I don't know. The list was like 40 or a lot of the agencies. So really, this I would say this is a good thing because we know that usually the public administration is failing a little bit behind the business, but having this this willing to transform how the organization working at this moment is I would say it's admirable. So definitely a good step for the United States.
Also, they are pretty much controlling the exports of hardware. So, I mean, by now, NVIDIA is pretty much a nationalized company because if the states forbids the export of certain products that they make, it's like they control their business more or less.
Which actually happened. So the states issued again an order to not limit, but I think even forbid at all the export to the China for the top NVIDIA performance cards,
which are essential for anyone who's trying to
do something at scale.
Yeah,
not playing at home. The funny thing is that we just saw a few days ago that actually there is a restriction even for the top gaming cards, which are 4090, and this will occur starting from 17th of November. So it's yeah, this is pretty. I was very, very surprised to see the restriction of gaming cards, which are, let's say, like let's say 18 to 20 times less efficient than the enterprise.
You can think of it this way. The United States treats these products, the kind of the cards that are used for AI, as similar to the exports of weapons.
And yeah, so like
I mean, they
etc.
They feel that this is so powerful and will have such an effect that they are limiting their competitors, or let's say other countries, from using these products, because this will limit their capabilities to grow. So this gives you an idea of the scale and the importance. I mean, this doesn't happen at all. I mean, generally, countries don't care if private companies export products into other countries. It's even better for them because they bring in more taxes and everything. But
it's only for something which is really important for the organization.
So this is on a different level in terms of the importance. So that's why I'm saying that things like this this will not be on the news. I mean, like general news. People don't even know this happens, but it's really moving. Fundamentally, things are moving into even on the country level, things are moving into that direction.
Yep. But again, big surprise for the gaming cards. So, by the way, quick advice: if you plan to buy a card right now, wait until 17, because the prices are higher right now, as all the production is focused to export to China before this restriction to come in place. So plan something for the second half of this month. Unfortunately, it's let's say, I'm pretty sad to say it, but European Union is I don't know, it's moving extremely slow, unprepared. They tried to put some, I don't know, acts of this, but again, it's more like regulations, which fortunately, I believe it will become a huge gap between the States and the European Union, even much higher gap, especially with this, because I never heard anyone to. I mean, we had Italy, which is a great country, by the way, and it can share from last weekend, but they forbidden the access to GPT-4. Hopefully, they take some notes and trying to fix that, but we'll see.
This is the stage of where it was, at least the stage of denial and fear of the new,
of the unknown.
The unknown, yeah.
Okay, there were some other.
I think it's worth mentioning. I was listening to this Sam Altman interview, and just to make sure everybody knows. So Sam Altman is the founder of OpenAI, and OpenAI really kind of opened AI to the public, because
when was opened?
Yeah, this has been, AI is nothing new. I mean, the principle, the fundamental principles were there previously. We've shared this on the first session about the Transformer paper, which was kind of the thing that ignited the progress of the rapid progress of developing AI in sort of this mass scale. But generally, the principles have been around for ages, I would say, you know, machine learning and whatnot. So Sam is one of the founders and who is currently the operating person at OpenAI. OpenAI was founded by multiple people, including Elon Musk. But right now, Sam is kind of the governing body, and you know, along with Microsoft, who have a 49% share of the company. So he did an interesting interview recently, and I got some notes from it. I think it was more of a visionary perspective, something that, you know, we will be looking to see, because he actually has access to things that we'll probably see maybe 5 years in. One of the interesting kind of behind the scenes information that he gave is the kind of how OpenAI will develop ChatGPT and how versions will roll out, because right now we were expecting things like ChatGPT 5 to show up, and I think it will be the next version would be a more polished version of ChatGPT 4, as he described it, or it wouldn't be such a fundamental shift like between 3.5 and 4. It will be a more optimized version, because right now, really the company is not making a lot of money with ChatGPT 4, because since the model is fairly new, it's expensive to run. So that's why you know, they charge money for it. There's a cap on the number of messages that you can do. So it's still fairly expensive, and the return is not that great. But as more services like Microsoft services start adopting it and others, it will make more economical sense to you know, to that corporation, which is effectively OpenAI, for it to run. So I think what we saw with GPT-4, by his own words, would be one of the most massive upgrades, because he feels that the next iterations would be much slower in innovation. And it makes sense. It's like the first versions of iPhones and, you know, this kind of fundamental technologies that shifts in technology that have come across in previous years. Now, is he giving out all of the information and, you know, all of the things that they are preparing? I'm not sure. I think it's a closed out company. They still have to keep something under the wraps, and that they will have to be competitive.
I would say that it's when you become, how to say, familiar with something and start using something, you treat it like it's been here for forever.
Yeah.
Like your own kids are growing slower than the other people kids. But the thing is that actually there's huge improvements even in the past several months for GPT.
But this will be noticeable by people who are constantly using it, because this will.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, you will notice it.
But the thing is that when you step aside and think a bit, you realize that actually I would say it's extremely faster than at the beginning. Maybe it's more closer to the GPT 3.5 Turbo, because yeah, definitely they put a lot of effort in that. There were some during the summer, there were some papers mentioned that actually it becomes stupid because people stop using it, which I guess it may be some period that there's some stuff
well, they
happening
changed
behind the scene, but definitely at the moment actually the quality is pretty good. I will not say at all that it's stupid at the beginning, even of the opposite one. So a lot of training is going on right now. Yeah, as you said, there's a lot of improvements, including right now. Actually, they're rolling out in enterprise and the plus users the functionality where you no longer have to switch between browsing,
Yeah.
DALL-E and data analytics. So for example, you can paste an image and grab DALL-E to analyze it, and with data analytics to prepare some charts, grabbing the data just with the same chat, which is, I would say, it's pretty awesome. Of course, it's very expensive when you start playing with GPT-4. You can pretty quickly realize that
With an API.
with not the chat GPT, but let's say for some serious applications, the bills coming pretty
Fast.
quick, pretty fast. So definitely you have to be prepared to have a strategy how to use appropriately these LLMs. We'll see later in the chat some demo of how you can accomplish that. But yeah, can't wait for the next week
Yeah, it's going to be
event,
interesting.
and we'll see what happened. By the way, we plan to have later this month session for both Cloud Talks and AI Talks to cover the Ignite and most probably the tons of updates which will happen next week. By the way, they were planned to reduce the price of GPT-4. After that, there were some news that actually these plans were abandoned, but fingers crossed that
It's still basically free by what you get. I mean,
yeah, that's true for ChatGPT, but yeah, it's definitely. Hopefully, also Google will help to make the price lower, because definitely that always doesn't help.
Another interesting point, which is kind of what we discussed earlier about the advancements, and should people be worried about how AI is being used? And he drew an interesting parallel with how nuclear weapons have been created in the past. When nuclear weapons were invented, the Second World War and testing, everybody thought that by given how the massive potential of this weapon, in a few decades we will destroy ourselves with nuclear weapons, just because it's so powerful. And we saw this didn't happen because there was some regulation put in place. Countries agreed between each other that they would responsibly limit the use of nuclear weapons and so forth. So he's expecting something similar to happen with AI in general. And he's not that. There's always there's still that 10% chance that AI will destroy us in some way, but he was overly positive that we will be able to contain and we'll be able to use that to its potential, to for the good. The other, I'll just flag them. There was some discussion around how to better leverage AI in terms of just blatantly using it between a human and the technology. And the Neuralink interface is what mentioned, is a way to interact with this information. Also, the advancements in just general eyewear that's going to show up in. We saw how Apple is bringing the Apple Vision Pro, which will use also AI technologies in it to augment your vision and also implement all that capability together. So I think that the next phase of adoption of AI is how to speed up the interface between the human, because right now we're limited to the way we're interacting it, with fingers and generally computers and devices. How to better absorb that information and use it throughout your daily work. That will be the next big thing, is where tech leaders are focusing, because generally AI is really powerful right now. We just need to find all of the, and that's why we have so many startups. Basically, we just need to figure out all of the places where we can use it. It's GPT-4 is powerful enough to solve many problems right now. And the issue is how to adopt it in, let's say, your process or in your business somehow.
You mentioned Neuralink, and actually there was some news that OpenAI is also working on similar products. Unfortunately, what I see for the people in this field is actually the biggest problem is the bandwidth, because the human brain can do a lot of stuff. As you said, the GPT-4 can do a lot of stuff, but with current plan of putting, it was 120 electrodes or something like this. It's
without a chip, it's just
it's just it will provide some, let's say, API interface, but unfortunately, this is, if I understand correctly, the hardest challenge which Neuralink and similar companies will face. Actually, is the bandwidth between the human brain and external models, etc. So yeah, definitely a lot of things will come on in that direction. I guess this will be shared publicly in the event next week. We'll see. However,
yeah, I think that was kind of the more interesting things that Sam shared, that he doesn't often do these sort of open discussions and podcasts, but I tend to, when he does one, I tend to listen, because right now he's a very influential person. He's very into the stuff that's happening in AI. I mean, they are on the cutting edge. They're basically running AI right now, more or less. So it's always good to listen what he has to say, and I think he will become generally. I think he will become a very important person in technology over the next decade.
Yep, definitely. We'll see what Google will come in, because there's some news that actually Gemini is pretty close. Gemini should be the direct competitor to GPT-4 and the best large language model from Google. There's some rumors that it would be even more powerful. There is also a lot of other things coming with Gemini. Things like Stub. We'll touch it a bit when we have a quick demo later. Also, Amazon trying to catch up with providing their Amazon Bedrock service, which I think is currently generally available. Unfortunately, it's a good place where you can deploy some models. You know that they put some effort to partner with Hugging Face, where you can find the, let's say, the majority of open large language models, also some data sets, etc. So with Amazon Bedrock, they're following different strategy. You're able to run some of these models. However, the most powerful model, which I'm aware you can run, is Anthropic Claude V2, if I'm not mistaken, which this is another topic, but there were big concerns of using it and how it treats your own data. At least this is some information which I saw in a lot of people in the space sharing in internet, that they're closing their subscription. But anyway, this separate topic. So different approach from Amazon, also different approach, I would say, from Apple. They're not focusing of developing their own large language model, but they're just trying to bring the power of LLMs to
the devices.
To devices. Of course, we know Apple, they're focused more on usability perspective from people. There were some, even on the latest event, there are some functionalities already, which are just small improvement, like things like autocomplete suggestions, etc.
And this, I think from the event that I saw from Apple, is they're looking to bring LLMs to run on the, because devices have been so powerful already. You know, with the M1 chips and the chips that they've made generally, they've been in, for the people who follow Apple, they've been implementing AI capabilities into their chips for the last probably 5 years or so. But not until now it made sense to really take leverage of it. I mean, it was used in the camera system and others, but
Yeah.
now it will be, I think on the next version of the iPhone, they are looking to bring a real LLM to work directly on the device, without the use of the internet or another cloud. So it can, it can be your real personal system, what Siri wasn't essentially. So yeah, it just shows you how things will just get, how more things will just start adopting it. At some point, everything will have some sort of an LLM inside of it,
Yeah.
as a device.
Later you'll see demo how M1 Max chip is running on my MacBook Pro pretty flawlessly. So, and this is already 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years chip. The recent announcement on M3 is they mentioned that it would be like 60% faster. So yeah, definitely something to follow. Some other news in the field is actually open. We've been talking about the chips recently at the beginning of the conversation. So really, this 80% market for NVIDIA is not something which makes the other major providers happy. So as you can imagine, each of them start researching and developing their own chip, including OpenAI. They also plan to do that. Actually, Google has their own processors. AMD is working on their own GPUs, which shall be released, I think, pretty soon. It was MI300X, if I'm not mistaken, for the actual name from AMD, and a lot of companies especially from the open source communities betting on this. There were even Tiny George Holtz from TinyGraph really want to create this small box where you can run your own models.
Oh yeah, that was in the summer.
And he don't like NVIDIA, let's say, which I guess it's just part of the mindset of his mindset. But yeah, definitely all of them trying to catch up. AWS is preparing their, they have some chips as well, like Trainium, Inferentia. Yeah, and by the way, Microsoft is working with AMD to grab these chips for their actually for their GPU-based instances where you can train or use the models you would like. But yeah, with 80% market gap, everybody want to have some alternatives. And Elon Musk mentioned that for the Tesla, they have pretty significant amount of NVIDIA chips, so that's why they are working on Dojo, their supercomputer. And by the way, in all new Teslas, there is Ryzen processors, which are good enough to play GTA inside the car, which was a big fun, especially for the kids. But yeah, this would be some very interesting race to follow, where there's some external subject like the government play some role, as we recently noticed with these restrictions. Another very interesting news was in way to train robots. There's how to say, some organization been working with multiple universities, researchers, and then create this OpenX embodiment where they released some robotic transformer model called RT1, which actually is able to train not from single robots, but actually from multiple robots simultaneously, which it's something pretty amazing, I would say. There were a video this month from Boston Dynamics.
Oh, new one. I didn't see it.
Yeah, new one. It was really funny with their doc speaking in pretty nice British accent, incorporating some of the LLMs within the doc. Actually, I checked and was very surprised that this doc is cost like $70,000 US. I thought it's much more expensive for such
you can buy it.
You can buy it, yeah, which is
Okay.
yeah, it's very interesting.
I
I'm not
thought it was still a proof of concept or something.
yeah. I also thought it's the same. But yeah, you can buy it. It is, I guess I saw that there's this price, so maybe you can contact them and buy it. I'm not sure how the bigger one will cost.
I
Most
don't know
probably five times.
What do you need it for, though?
For now, we don't know. But when you are able to run something good on it, maybe it can help. No, actually,
Hopefully they don't put weapons on it and send it to people.
hopefully it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very naive word. Let's
Yeah,
put it
yeah,
that way.
hopefully.
Yeah. So yep, and also there's some NVIDIA research breakthrough with Eureka. So right now, instead of training the robots, to grab things, sort things, etc., you can do it by doing simulation. They show some video where actually robot hands playing with the pen, and it was trained extremely like it's only with it's extremely with simulation. So instead of wasting enormous amount of time of the need to robots to grab something, to do something, you can actually do it pretty quickly by training the robot and with some simulation, etc. Yeah, it's a lot of things going on in that direction as well. I hope that we'll see some good progress next year with integration between LLMs and actually robots industry. By the way, the AWS also not AWS, sorry, Amazon shows that they have like 1,000 already robots in their factories, and they continue to issue more and more robots which are taking care of packages, etc. So you know what I mean? It's going in the direction where people working physical work, joking that we are far away from AI taking our jobs or whatever. But we'll see. Which again, it's pretty admirable for the US guys onboarding this so quickly and trying to adopt it. Talking about the regulation, continuing with the regulations and stuff and people, it's some news that Stack Overflow lays off over 100 people, I think last month.
I saw the news, but I wonder if it was due to kind of massive layoffs everywhere. It was, or it's strictly related to AI.
I think it's some kind of combination between both. But I haven't touched Stack Overflow in the past several months, I would say.
Why?
Because I've been using GPT-4 to help me with the challenges that I have day-to-day work.
I remember Stack Overflow was one of the first companies who wanted to close out their database, their data set to LLMs, because it's basically taking the only IP that it has. Once it gets ingested into the data set, it's you're done. There's nothing. There's no point of view to move. I mean, there is some.
No,
I mean, but for the most part, if it's not an really obscure problem, me and Nikki have been using ChatGPT, so we become part-time developers lately in different avenues. So, and every time I do it, it's like a miracle, right? It's you don't even know how empowered you are until you test it out. So I think developers and the developers, especially the senior people who have been doing this job, and companies have been relying on their skill set just because it's so unique and it's been and you have to experience to gain it. Now that's pretty much it gets consumed by an LLM more or less, and I think this type of work is will change a lot in the coming years.
Yeah. There were even some news I saw about the financial markets. Actually, the SEC chairman mentioned that it's the AI will cause financial crash within a decade, which I guess it's putting additional.
Do you want to explain why?
Because it will make the money obsolete, if I can say it in short.
I think one of the reasons why they're afraid is because I read a bit about this as well, and I think outside of the general problem with AI and how it will affect businesses, one of the issues that they're saying is financial analysts will be much more empowered. So the companies who can afford to train more models and specialize in certain areas of financial, when it comes to markets and exchanges and looking at fluctuations, things that analysts have been doing as a job. Now LLMs will be taking over some of these tasks, and depending on how much money they pour into training and investing into perfecting this process, they will be better at, let's say, guessing the market compared to others, and this will cause havoc in the financial markets.
Yeah, for the financial markets, definitely it's depending. The good thing is that there is still a lot of external factors, which it's very hard to be predicted. But the problem in general with the financial system and how it's working nowadays, definitely it's something that governments and organizations and the large vendors who is driving this forward should take care of it as soon as possible. Which again, it's happening. So pretty happy to see that. And yeah, there's even in some talking about how to protect, people, organization in a good way, how to recognize the fake news, because actually the fake news will become something. It's already becoming something pretty significant and impactful of how people think, what kind of decision they are taking. Deepfake is actually, right now, it's even my son can create some videos which are not real. But the large vendors, like for example Facebook, not Facebook, Meta, and Google, are trying to create products which can help you realize if the solution is actually the item, for example, picture is AI generated or not. They're putting some mechanism behind the scene which checking this in pretty, I would say, pretty interesting way. You can have a look. So, however, we just discussed that it would become pretty hard to understand, for example, for specific part of texts, if it's written by AI or not.
It will be very hard, yeah.
But yeah, I'm very optimistic and believe that the good people are always more than the bad one, and there are already solutions that you can fact check what you are looking for. And again, as we mentioned in the beginning, critical thinking is becoming more and more and more important. In nowadays, definitely we have to check each side and then take decision. what to do and how to proceed.
I mean, the alternative is to hide in a bunker and wait for the bombs to.
Yeah, which may never can, by the way. Okay, I think we are moving forward with time, so maybe it should be good to show some demo.
Yeah, I can do that. So what I've, as you know or may not know, we've been, we're not only talking about AI in general and just looking at news and admiring the progress. We want to implement it into some real world examples where we can benefit from this. It's not only about just playing with ChatGPT. We actually want to have some real perspective of it, especially in the enterprise where where we are working. So we've been involved in a few initiatives and looking into the real implementations of LLMs in the corporate world and how this could save time and money generally. Microsoft provides a bunch of POCs to get you started, because at the end of the day, they want you to use these services because they will have some returns back on their business. So they are giving you the kind of the starting point with OpenAI, Azure OpenAI. And what I wanted to demo quickly today was the use of one of these POCs to actually show you how to ingest your corporate documentation and deploy it into Azure in just a few steps and have a real working solution without knowing too much about infrastructure or AI in general. It only requires a few steps. So you just give me a second and I'll share my screen. Okay, hopefully you can see my screen.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
we can see it. Okay. So the demo that I did, I pre-recorded it just because the time to deploy this is like an hour long, and we don't have this time of the day today. But I've deployed a solution called a solution accelerator. And I can once I upload this into YouTube, I'll paste the link to the GitHub repository where you can use it. But it's basically a full-blown solution where you have two separate web applications, one to use your information, basically the front end, and another application to actually do the ingestion process, which was typically previously done through scripts, but they made it even more kind of friendly for people. And yeah, I'll walk you through some of the steps here. I may pause the video in some points. And yeah, so basically this is the GitHub repo. It's called Chat with Your Data Solution Explorer Accelerator. And what we have, the simplified design of the solution is, we're going to get some technical terminology here, assuming that we know a bit about Azure and its services. So we have our Azure OpenAI instance, which is being used to provide the LLM capabilities. We have another Azure AI service called Document Intelligence, which is used for the document preparation. We have an Azure function to do the orchestration. We have a storage account to temporarily store our data once we upload it into Azure. And we have a search index, which is being used by the LLM to store our data. This is a simplified architecture diagram of the solution accelerator. Yeah, here I just point out the different nodes in the system. And You know, the documentation is it's a good write-up. You know, if you can explore it more, the capabilities is chat with an Azure OpenAI model using your own data. You can what also is covered is to upload and process your documents. You can also index web pages, which was something that we didn't have in the previous POCs. You can point this to a public website. It can scan the public website, get the information from it, and put it in the index as well. You can easily change the prompt configuration, so you don't have to do this through Python or Python notebooks. This can be applied on the web interface, and you can define the different chunking strategies, because once you start working with Azure OpenAI, you come to see that, and search indexes, you come to see that it's very important how you structure your data, especially if you have documents that are large with multiple pages. How do you spread this data into different segments in order for this to be ingested properly, and the LLM can take full advantage of it? It's you know, and we have, you know, additional information, you know, what type of files are supported currently out of the box, which are PDFs mostly. You know, typically a corporate data set will be mostly, you know, or the data state will be mostly PDF documents and, you know, Microsoft documents. But here, the supported ones are PDFs, different types of image files like JPEGs, PNGs. You have your regular TXT file, of course, because that's the easiest one to consume. HTML, since we want to bring in web pages externally. Markdown, which has become a standard now with Python. And docx, which is used a lot as well. I mean, from that point on, if you have, let's say Excel spreadsheets and others, before that, you can convert that to one of these supported files and then ingest them into the model.
By the way, sorry for the interruption. One of the recent updates was actually a pretty significant improvement in ChatGPT of the ability talking with PDFs.
Mm-hmm.
So previously, if you remember, we've been using some kind of plugins.
Yeah.
But right now it's and actually the feedback is pretty good.
Yeah, so you can upload multiple files.
Yeah.
Only 10, but still.
Yeah,
it's plenty.
But it's still, because previously it wasn't that good. I mean,
I'll give you guys a hint for what I use it for mostly. I find that ChatGPT is very good at describing code. So if you take your GitHub repository for things that you have not developed yourself, but you want to understand how it works, you can upload all of the code and ask ChatGPT to walk you through what's happening in certain steps and define, you know, where variables are. And this is very handy once you want to, I mean, if you want to clone that repo and you want to add certain functionality, you can use the LLM to help you. Okay, I want to add this function to the specific module, let's say, and it will help you do that. So this capability with uploading files has been very handy. Previously, we had to paste code into ChatGPT. It couldn't be that long, you know. It was
4K tokens.
Yeah,
blah, blah.
So the models that are being used for this are either 3.5 or 4, depending on what you have in your subscription. And you definitely need the embeddings model, which is standard text embedding ADA 002, which is being used in the ingestion process for the vectorization of the data. Technically, you need just 2 models. I would say 4 if you have 4, and ADA 002. Now 4 is no longer so hard to get. You just need to submit your request. I have it on all of my Visual Studio subscriptions. So if they approve it on Visual Studio subscriptions, I think it's available to anyone who has a paid subscription to Azure. What I'm doing in this demo, I'm using the predefined ARM template, which is very handy for people who don't know how to use Azure or deploy services in it. Yeah, we have some, different details. You can use LangChain or OpenAI functions to for the orchestration strategy. This is a snippet of the actual interface of the app and the admin portal. And there's some documentation how to run this locally. For the purposes of the demo, I've used the ARM template. So you'll just click on that. It will take you to the subscription that you have in Azure. So just to mention, the prerequisites to get to this running is you have to have a resource group created prior, and you have to have your Azure OpenAI endpoint pre-created with the two deployments. This is the only thing that you need to have before you deploy this solution. So you need to come up with a resource prefix. So all of the resources are defined, with a certain naming convention. I would use semantic search. I changed this to true, so we can use the extra capabilities that we have with the index. And yeah, there's some other properties that you need to fill out, like the name of the OpenAI resource, the OpenAI key as well needs to be there, obviously. The orchestration strategy needs to be picked. And, you can even change the tiering of the search index, because the one that gets selected by default is standard, and it's, for a Visual Studio subscription is a bit expensive. I mean, you run out your credits within a week or so. So it's a standard deployment. You just wait for it to finish. I think in the video here, I've skipped the waiting here because it takes a bit of time. So once your deployment is complete, you would go to typically you'll go to your resource group. These are the resources that are created. We have, like mentioned previously, we have our document intelligence, storage accounts. Compared to others, we have a few additional steps, like we have an event grid system for the functions to use for the function, because it's an event-driven system. And we have our admin portal, and where I click the link to the admin portal. So this is where you would start using your solution. This is the web interface where you would upload your data. So, this is the landing page. Welcome to your solution accelerator. If you go to, and we have a set of menus on the left, which is ingest data, explore data, and configuration. It's a very simple application. There's nothing too much to it, but it's very handy compared to just using scripts and provided Python to upload your data. I mean, generally, I find it easier for new people to start using this as just a service to kind of check how things are being done. So you would click on ingest data. You need to wait for the interface to show. And one thing to note, the tiering of the app service plan is, I think it's B3. So it's not fast by any means. So if you want to kind of have a better user experience, you can change the app service plan, because it's shared between 3 applications, the function and the 2 web apps. So it's, you need to figure out if you want to have a better experience, or if you want this. Keep in mind, this is a POC. It's not meant for production use, but technically there's nothing preventing you from using them.
I guess you can separate them. You can
modify the deployment.
Regular stuff, auto scaling stuff.
Yeah, you can make changes to it. Technically, it can become a real application in a sort of a small use case somewhere. But this is not how they designed it from the template. They designed it just for you to start it up. So we have in the ingest data, we have 2 menus: add documents in batch, which is you pick up multiple documents, and this will force them into a storage account where they will be used for the processing. And the other capabilities, you would paste a URL for a web page and just click process and ingest web pages, and it will start the ingestion process. So we have an explore data menu, which gives you the ability to look into your index. So instead of going into the Microsoft Azure index, you would have a glance directly into that page. And into the in configuration menu, we have the prompt configuration. We can change our prompt configuration and tell the bot what it can do, how it can present itself. And we also have Azure AT AI content safety resource created for this solution. So, we can regulate how AI can answer certain, how AI can respond to different queries if we want to manage that at all. And in the document processing configuration, what I mentioned, which is really handy, is the chunking strategy for the different types of files. I have to admit, we looked into the code, and some of the chunking strategies on the backend code have not been implemented. So although it says, I think I've clicked on it in the demo, but in the chunking strategy for PDF, I was there for a second. Chunking strategy for PDF is we have a paragraph, and paragraph is not actually implemented in the code. And I found it in the GitHub repo, which is have to look at the Python code. So I'm guessing this is something work in progress, but the other ones like page and the layout type do work. So you can experiment with that. All right, so you save your configuration. There's actually a second index that's being created if you want to log your input and output from people. So in the demo, I select a file which was, I think, if I remember correctly, it was the Power Platform licensing guide, something that's for the people who are supporting the Power Platform know it's an extensive guide of how all the different type of licenses are in the Power Platform. So that's what we are using for the demo. You upload this into the storage account, and an asynchronous process kicks in. The function takes the file from the storage account. It involves a couple of different scripts to start the ingestion process. And once it's done, it will show up in the index. I mean, I'm oversimplifying it. There's more to it, but you can find more about it in the GitHub repo. So once the ingestion process is done, you would start your other application, the other web app, which is the front end of how you're going to be using your information. And depending on the size of the file, the ingestion process can take a while. Yesterday I've ingested one of the books that we have from the Microsoft Cloud, which is about 1,000 pages long, and it has taken an hour or so to ingest with all the different things for it to show up in the index. And it cost me about $100 in credits.
But is it just for the embeddings?
It's for the embeddings and also for the embeddings mostly, yeah.
So we can definitely, so a side note,
yeah,
but even on MacBook Pro or whatever,
yeah,
you can run for free
yes,
local embeddings.
Especially for testing and these sort of things, it's probably better to do it locally than before doing it in OpenAI.
If you don't have credits, if you have Visual Studio credits,
if you have an Azure subscription, you plan to give it out to more people,
I'm very surprised to hear that the price is so big, because I think this is but I think this is the cheapest possible model which you can consume from.
Well, I'm not sure. It could be something that I did because the file didn't show up initially, and I was expecting it to show like in 20 minutes. So I did a reprocessing. I haven't inspected the index. It could be that it was indexed twice or something. So I'll check on this, but I noticed that my credits have shrunk very quickly. And that's why, and me and Nikki will focus a lot of efforts in the coming months and generally just to explore what the best strategies for cost management when it comes to these cloud services, because it doesn't make sense for, it's very cool, but if it's going to cost a ton of money, then
like you said, it's pretty good to get your hands dirty.
Yes, that's why you want to experiment. And Visual Studio credits are very good because after all they replenish.
But that's the main reason of them.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just to explore, to check the things, how it's working.
And since the Microsoft gives us the ability to roll models directly in Visual Studio subscriptions, I think it's great. So once the ingestion process is done, you can go to export your data, and the file will show up in the drop-down menu, and this is basically a representation of how they look in the index themselves, in the index. So this is the first chunk, and how the data is being analyzed. I'm using the layout model for PDF files, which means it will know if it's a table, and it will capture these details properly. As you can see, there are HTML tags for it. So this is the front-end interface. The question that I was asking is, tell me about the Power Platform, which is the licensing. Tell me more about the Power Platform licensing. And the first response is Power Platform products are licensed per subscription, per tenant capacity, and just an excerpt. Now, I think the second question was a bit more targeted for the thing that I wanted to know. How do we license Power Automate? Some more practical question, and will give us a response back of the different options for Power Automate, API calls, and things like that. And it also allows to do citations, which means we can click on the specific reference within the document, and it will show it on the right-hand side of the tool. So it's a very basic tool, a very basic interface to explore your data, but it's still meaningful enough. And it's, as a POC, I think it's very good to kind of get you kick started. So yeah, Power Automate and so forth. This is an important piece. I think here, I was showing how the search index looks like on the Azure side. If for the people who don't know what the search index is, it's just a part of the cognitive services, AI. And the index is really where we store our information. So the representation inside of it looks like this. There's a built-in interface, so you can do a query back to the index, but it's on the back end. This is how it looks like. It's a few different columns, and we have the vector representation of the data, and also the content inside of it. So pretty neat. Yeah, that's it for the demo. I think generally this would be very useful to get you started with Azure OpenAI, since it only requires a certain amount of credits. You can actually use a free account, put your credit card in. The $200 would be enough to ingest a couple of different documents with multiple pages. So you can practically do a demo of Azure OpenAI with your own data in about 2 hours with zero cost.
And also, I think there's already similar solutions provided by Microsoft, which you can experiment even running everything locally and use just the Azure OpenAI endpoint. You can, for example, I noticed that there were solutions showing how you can run the search and vector database, and for example, using Redis or etc.
I saw that on the marketplace there are multiple products already.
Oh, in Azure directly?
For many companies that are providing this type of solution. But right now, I don't think it's worth doing that until you actually have a use case and you have tried out the free accelerators and code from Microsoft.
Yeah. By the way, we'll share it in the description, but forgot to mention earlier, Microsoft dropped pretty good repo called AI for beginners, if I'm not mistaken. I noticed it this morning. It was pretty nice with a very structured course, which you can follow, including actually the how you can run the accelerator and the different products. Very nice demo. Thank you.
No.
Thank you. I hope you find it interesting. So we're running, I would say we have some time. So we've been discussing about the AutoGen framework, which was recently released by Microsoft, and it was something both of us were really fascinating and really wanted to jump in and get our hands dirty. So we've been playing in the recent last month with this, and I wasn't able to record the demo because it was, let's say, there were some challenges, but I can show you some basic stuff. And let me share my screen. So I try to show you how the things are working. So AutoGen is a framework which have two main cases. We've been focusing today on the first one, which is the ability to create application based on the different agents. So in the past, we saw AutoGPT, things like ChatDev, and some other solutions which are trying Baby AGI, I think it was the other.
Yeah.
Which are trying to leverage this concept where you put multiple, let's say, agent, which have behind the scene different, let's say, some large language models or human input or some scripts, and being able to solve more complex tasks. So we're very happy to have Microsoft jump in this field and creating, I would say, full-fledged framework for that, which develops really, really fast. And of course, we already tried and do some, let's say, experiments with it. So in general, as you see in the picture here, I hope you see it well, we have different types. So we have different types of agents. We have assistant agent, which this is the, let's say, the really base way of consuming AutoGen. But we have assistant agent, which is actually usually we put some large language model behind it, and we have user proxy agent, which actually taking the role of human, or it may have some automated script which provides some guidance or navigate the assistant agent. So let me show you really quick what I have here. So I have demo. I played a bit with the demo here. So I created what is needed to get started. This is really, really basic, let's say, basic fun. So what is needed? Of course, we need some API keys for, let's say, OpenAI or Azure OpenAI or whatever model we would like to use. For example, we would like to use Claudio or so. And of course, we're starting with importing AutoGen module. Then we have the config list, which actually could be directly put it in the code, but for the sake of the presentation, I put it outside in a JSON file. It could not be JSON file. So, and as you see here, we have actually this config list is really like a daisy chain. So I put it the config list example here, where I have let's say several models. So I have GPT 3.5 Turbo. Keep in mind that these keys are fake, so
don't use them.
You can try. Feel free to use them. Yeah, you see that I have all the models here. the different models. So I have GPT 3.5 Turbo, GPT-4, GPT-3 with 32,000 tokens, and also I have Mistral 7B, which I'm running on my MacBook, and I'll show you a bit later how it's working. And here I can use each of these configuration for different agents. So, for example, I have several large language model configurations here. Actually, I'll show this one here, where, as you see here, I have different config lists. So, first config list, I have only I'm using only the GPT-4 models. For the second one, I'm using GPT 3.5, and for the third one, I'm using Mistral 7B. This concept of, just a side note, of having a different agent trying to solve different tasks is extremely good when we put open source agent, because usually open source agents are trained for something specific, and you can train your agent to do specific job. And having this framework like AutoGen, we can let's say provide the right task to the right agent, which has the right LLM trained behind it. So, and this is really powerful because I wasn't able to find any limitation of how much agent we can have. And for example, when you run, I mean, my laptop is not that powerful, but I'll show you that I'm able to run a Llama 2 with 13 billion parameters, which is running pretty good, I would say. For the sake of the tests, and you can imagine what will happen if you put some more GPUs, which soon will be forbidden for China. So, but yeah, and as you see here, we have multiple configuration lists pointing to the same JSON file, and filter the specific model that we would like to use. This is the config example that I show you, and then we'll have different LLM config, which is using the different config list. So what we have here, we have the request timeout. So how much time it will pay. This is self-explanatory, I'm not going to explain it. And we have seed. Seed actually is used for caching. As you see, we have different, I put a different cache for the different config. So each of the LLM will have different cache. You can put whatever number you would like here. And actually each of these models will keep their cache. So this is I would say this is not very good for your open source models, because usually you would like to get the latest, the new update. But when you're working with expensive models like GPT-4, in most cases would be better to cache the request and not doing the same queries to the models, but then save some money on it. Based on my test, this does not working very well. So I guess, but yeah, as I said, we are pretty in the beginning, so definitely, and also there's some methods which will allow you to push this cache if needed. Okay, moving forward. So this example here, it's just having two agents. One of the agent, and as we mentioned, the simplest scenario where we have assistant agent, which in our case would be Python engineer, which will help with some generation of some Python code. As you see here, I'm using LLM config 3. So this Python engineer will be using my Llama 2 model, which is running on my MacBook laptop. And then we have the user keep in mind the system message is is like the custom instruction in the ChatGPT Plus. So believe me or not, but yeah, I can show the system message is pretty. If you want to get good result, you have to put some effort in order to structure well your system message. So that's why it's really important to put some attention on prompt engineering and understand better how. Actually, this helped me to be honest to understand how the human brain works, which is also pretty nice. And we have the second agent, which is actually user proxy agent, which can have which should act as us or some other script. So as you see here, so this is the name of the agent, human input mode. So here we can have this similar to AutoGPT, where the agent shall ask us for feedback. So let's say output never. So let's try with never. We have the max consecutive out reply. So this would be iteration of 10. We can put larger number if needed. And actually this agent will be, so actually the conversation will end once we saw terminate in the answer. And as you see, the system message for this agent is to reply terminate once the task is solved. Otherwise, it will reply continue. We have the code execution config. So this is where our working directory will be. So for example, we'll be asking the solution, actually the assistant agent, to develop some Python application for us. And actually this Python app will be presented in this working dir web. Here we also have the option to use Docker. So we can directly provide even the image. And this is highly recommended because in this term, in this case, you'll be able to actually the agents would be able to develop their solution in that, let's say, isolated place where they can use whatever image they would like. So this could be really, really helpful for developing your application if you'd like to put the agent developing your custom application and put some, let's say, effort on that. We have the task, which is write Python function that generate a simple math quiz with 5 questions, such as basic arithmetics, etc., etc. So it would be simple quiz. And then we initiated here the chat between the user proxy and the Python engineer. Here, when we have more agents, we can really control how the conversation could flow. This was something in chat in GPT Dev, where you can actually pretty precisely can control the flow, communication flow between the different agents. Of course, here you can do the same thing. And I put it just an additional task where which will actually improve the solution. I will not wait, but let's run it. Really, just want to show you how it's working with the local agent. Okay, I guess I have to delete the cache. This is the cache connection. Refuse. So let me see if we'll be able to run the demo. Of course, you know, this is the error communicate with OpenAI. Max retrieve exceed completion connect failed to establish new connection. Okay, so let me see what happened. Of course, I wasn't able to, actually the server stopped, but here I'm using LLM Studio, where, as you see, I have few models here. So I already loaded the Llama 2, and I'll start the server. Actually, it's pretty easy to use it. So let's go back again, clear the cache, as we don't have anything here, clear here as well. And let's try now to see if it's going to work. Okay, as we see here, we are asking the user proxy, which keep in mind that the user proxy is using GPT because it's using LLM config 2, which actually is using config list 2. So the user proxy is using GPT-4. And I just want to show you what happened here. So, as you see, the log is pretty, you can see what happened right now. The CPU is becoming a bit overwhelmed. But usually in the server walk, you can see a lot of stuff going on here. Yeah, there's some yeah, as you see, there's some conversation going on here.
Between the agents.
Between the agents, the agent said how.
What was the initial request?
The initial request was, as you see, we already have the task has been solved by providing Python function that generates that. So we can, okay, and yeah, there's some surprising stuff in the live demo. But here, as you see, is the Python function already created, which actually we can see here. And yeah, I can show you how it's working. By the way, just a second. Okay. And yeah, we have actually the application. Let's say it is in the web. So if we'd like, we can run the quiz. And as you see here, let's say this was pretty quickly, we can have a quick, so for example, if you make mistake, no, it's not this one, but if we put the right one correct, we can have a vocabulary quiz. So yeah, we can try to answer, no, we're not that good. I'm kidding, but yeah, it's this is really simple example of how you can use it with learning vocal model like Llama 2 or whatever. It's pretty funny to watch the walks. They pop up pretty quickly, and you see how even with this MacBook, I was pretty surprised that it's able to run 13 billion parameters model, which is kind of nice. As you see here, I have like 10 gigs of memory usage. But yeah, the plan is to have we'll continue our experiments, and we'll have much more stuff going on here. So this is two of the agents that we will have. So again, user proxy agent, which may have behind the scene, like some human interaction input with feedback. As I show you, this is configurable, so you can put that you don't want to have interaction, you wanted to have feedback each time, and the assistant agent. However, we have some other agents in place. Recently, actually, as you see, it was released on 26th of October. So right now we have even teachable agent, which is I would say very, very nice addition. Can't wait to check it and play with it. But this teachable agent actually is using additional agent called text analyzer agent. But in general, right now, our conversation between the assistant agent and user proxy agent actually is gone after the chat closed. So if we put some information or we prepared some task for solution for this solution to resolve it, actually it will require it will require some it will be lost, if I can say that way. Sorry, I got miscalled here. I was distracted. But what I'm trying to say is that with teachable agent, we actually can connect the agent to any vector database. So it could be whatever, Pinacode, Quadrant, or whatever. And we can store the information for the next sessions. Okay. And I would say this happens in pretty easy way. As you saw, it's not there is nothing complicated in this configuration. So as you see here in the created agent, we just again have the name, we have and we just have the teach config. So we have the path to our database, vector database. As you see, we have here if we would like to, for example, for what kind of things we plan to use it. Shall we reset the database each time we run the agent, or we would like to keep the information? But it's pretty easy to use, and this is what I really love in the entire framework, is that the people developing it put it a lot of effort to make it as soon as not as soon, but as simple as possible and as easy to be consumed as possible, if I can say that way. So yeah, you can connect to your local vector DB with several clicks, and you can leverage to text analyzer agent to grab the data. Of course, there could be much more other usage you can involve, for example, Whisper to grab to convert the voice to text and gather then the text there. You can have combine. Actually, this brings us to the second agent, to actually the fourth or fifth agent, whatever you would like to call it, which is retrieval augmented generation RAG application agent. So actually, this agent, what is doing is actually is doing what Nikki shows us recently with grabbing documents. However, the funny part, not the funny, but again, very nice part here is that it's taking care of all the chunking part and all of this stuff behind the scene. But it, and again, you see how easy it is to configure it. You have just, again, the RAG proxy agent. You have the name, retrieval config. You have what would be the task, actually, and you have the doc path from where the document should be taken. Of course, you can put multiple here. You can play a lot with this. So what else? Again, you have the full options of customize this agent. So you can customize the embedding function. You can customize which function to use. As you see here, we can, of course, the example is with OpenAI embedding model, but of course, you can use your, the other example, as you see here, is using Hugging Face open source model, which of course could be used. Also, you have the full control of how you would like to split the text. So, and again, you have the control of vector database. So again, you can go in the details needed for your specific use case. You can use like whatever database you would like to use. Here we go. Yeah, it's here it's Quadrant DB. And yeah, there's some even advanced scenarios, but this is the main goal of this demo was just to show you how fast Microsoft developed a framework which is very easy to consume, easy to use, and developing so fast. This morning I saw the tweets that is one of the trending repos, the AutoGen repos, and it's really, we really highly recommend to have a look at it and trying to input it in your solution, and in general trying to understand how these multi-agent solutions are working, what could be the benefits of them, etc. So AutoGen is not only agent framework. You may saw that it's used also for as you see, it's also for additional enhanced LLM inference for completion stuff. You can you can put some fine tuning on it. It's but this is really the top of the iceberg, if I can say that way. So you can expect additional sessions in our next actually additional demos in our next sessions. But if you're interested, you can have a look in YouTube. There's tons of video with comprehensive demos with some real case scenarios how to use it, and also there's good use cases where you can even put it in combination with MemGPT. I think this was before Teachable Agent. So, but yeah, a lot of use cases here. And just to closing the topic, keep in mind that also Gemini is coming to the market, and Microsoft would not be alone in that list, and actually Google is planning to do something. I would say it's even more impressive with Stubbs, but in general, what was leaked, I think last week, was that somehow similar to AutoGen, but with Stubbs you can again create a directly solution. I don't know, maybe something bit like a no-code solution where you can easily, person without any code experience can easily create applications in any code which they like. So, for example, these are some pictures where you can put some blocks and you can put and even publish direct solutions. You can describe what you would like this to do, how to connect, and again, this could be you can put agents behind it, etc. But in general, this can be converted in any code which you would like. So at the end, you will get the actual, that's the bigger difference, is actually you'll get the Python code as output. You can get whatever, JavaScript or what is the library that you're looking for. All right, so that was it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed.
Thank you, everyone.
And yeah, thank you for
We
your
have some
time.
exciting things coming up. So
Yep, looking forward to talk to you later this month on our third session.
thank you.